Good evening with the Wednesday, October 4th edition of the CBC Evening News. I'm Ryan Broom. In our top story, we start on a sad note. A St. George family is both sad and upset about the circumstances surrounding the death of one of its young members. 13-year-old Hananiah Reeves was struck by a motor car driven by a 59-year-old David Asha of Thorpe, St. James, while attempting to cross the road after disembarking a minibus. Kareem Smith was at the home of his family, still struggling to come to grips with it.
These are the flowers placed here by friends and family members of young Hananiah Reeves. It's about the best they could have done after he was taken from them in an extremely tragic incident on this roadway. It was supposed to be a normal trip to the grocery for the helpful 13-year-old Princess Margaret student. He was footsteps away from his Campaign Castle home, but would never make it. On his return, he had just disembarked from a minibus and, acting upon the advice of the driver, attempted to cross the road in front of it. It's a decision that moments later cost him his life.
He died senseless because as a normal person would see a van start to let somebody cross the road and a number of cars behind it, they would think that something is wrong, that a number of cars there and a car is also there, so you should automatically think something is wrong.
At his home, a number of relatives gathered to lend support to the grieving family, but his mother, Rosalind Green, was in no position to speak. Family members say overnight she had become extremely ill, fainting, and at some point had to be sedated. At the request of media personnel, she came outside of her home, but had to be quickly taken back inside. Hananiah's sister told us what last night was like.
I went to the hospital, and when I got there, I heard the screams. Before I could go into the room, I heard the screams and everything, and I knew that it was over. It was gone.
She says Hananiah, better known as Hansy, wasn't academically gifted, but extremely good with his hands and could fix almost anything.
Hananiah, there's a lot of things to say about Hananiah. He was a child. He never really used to get into any trouble, as a lot will know. He was he liked a lot of fun, a lot of playing. He could build anything with his hands, anything from a mouse trap back down to a house, back down to a kite, any single thing he could do with his hands. He was a child that, you say Hananiah come and go, he never used to say no, I ain't going, he always used to go.
Amid the tears were feelings of anger about the lack of streetlights in the area, described as pitch black at night.
They come here in the night to collect myself after I come from school. Nobody can see, they got to be down there with the phone spotting so the bus could see or the van could see. Years we asking for start lights. The bus stop was down there, so they moved the bus up from down there to here, still no street. Like, this is years.
The tragic death of Hananiah Reeves has sparked some debate about road safety in Barbados. But for his mother, family members and friends, it won't change the fact that they've lost a young man very dear to their hearts. Kareem Smith, CBC News.
And we at the CBC also extend our condolences to the family. Well, callous, insensitive and heartless, the choice words of Police Public Relations Officer Inspector Roland Cobbler as he expressed his disgust at the public circulation of the video showing Barbados' latest road fatality lying in the street, gasping for breath. He is again making a call for the public to stop filming, posting and sharing dangerous and deadly accident scenes. However, this time, he is suggesting that offenders be held accountable for their actions.
This callous or insensitive behavior being displayed by some individuals who continue to post traumatic occurrences on the social media can be described as being heartless, taking into consideration the emotional impact it is likely to have on family members. We've appealed in the past for persons to desist from engaging in this type of behavior. However, this appeal in some instances appears to have fallen on deaf ears, and we'll have to definitely re-examine our approach to counter this type of behavior by holding persons accountable for such postings.
In other news, the police force has turned to the public for assistance in identifying a man wanted in connection with serious criminal matters. The man's image was captured in this picture. He is about 5 feet 5 inches tall and of muscular build. He has a dark complexion, high cheekbones, and small features. Anyone who can provide information to assist with the identification of this man is being asked to contact the Worthing Police Station at telephone numbers 430-7615 or 430-7614. Any information received will be strictly confidential. In other news now, Finance Minister Chris Sinclair says the Barbados Sustainable Recovery Plan 2017 will be bold, practical and impenetrable. He made the comment during an interview with the Barbados Government Information Service after chairing a near 4-hour meeting at the Grand Salle to discuss a draft plan which is currently being developed. Mr. Sinclair made it clear that a number of the suggestions are practical and they will cause some radical shifts in how business is done across all sectors in Barbados. The minister had promised in this year's financial statement and budgetary proposals to begin the process for Barbados Sustainable Recovery Program, which would cover the fiscal, growth and social sectors.
We have to have a roadmap. Everybody is saying we need to have this done: fiscal reform, balanced budget, fiscal consolidation, debt reduction, economic growth, and so forth and so on. And there are a lot of ideas over there. The issue is, how do you bring those in, tighten them up, identify where and who is making the recommendations and on what, bring them in, tighten them up into a solid core implementable package over the short, medium and longer term, and then go about the process of implementing them. And that is why this process is so critical. So this is not just going to be like a budgetary exercise where you have a budget and you announce a few measures. This is going to be the complete package that address all issues in debt, financing, fiscal, state-owned entities, reform, doing business, and implementation.
Mr. Sinclair says the 3 working groups made up of officials from public agencies and private sector stakeholders met over the last few weeks and produced a draft report which was sent to Cabinet.
Cabinet gave its concurrence, noted it and gave its concurrence for the process to continue. And in finalization of that document, we've had the first technical meeting here with the social partners. And we are now going to take it from here and go back into the working groups to identify those areas, any loopholes, any vacuums within the recommendations and the overall objectives of the program, to ensure that we tighten those up, bring it down to a strategic blueprint for implementation for the government of Barbados and its partners to implement.
We take a pause here, but we'll have more news after the break.
The Salvation Army Barbados Division takes this time to appeal to all Barbadians to support this effort to help our Caribbean brothers and sisters in Dominica, who are desperately in need of the following items: canned foods and other non-perishable foods, bottled water, Pampers, children and adults, children educational material, bed cots. These items can be donated to the Salvation Army at their other institutions across Barbados, or call 426-2467 or 228-1361, and arrangements will be made to collect these donations. Please note, no clothing necessary. We also welcome any monetary donations to this effort through our local account at Scotiabank, account number 000-901-9858. The Salvation Army Appeal.
Help support the restoration efforts for the hundreds of thousands affected by catastrophic hurricanes. Donate to the Red Cross Hurricane Relief account at any branch of the following: CIBC First Caribbean, account number 10011633436. First Citizens, 500-900-00588. RBC Royal Bank, 210-05073. And Republic Bank, 01804-153-1001. Monies raised will be sent to the International Red Cross for its restoration work for affected persons. Appeal closes 30th November 2017. Persons wishing to post checks should make these out to Red Cross Hurricane Relief Appeal account and post to Barbados Red Cross Society, P.O. Box 300, Bridgetown, or hand deliver to the Red Cross Warrens headquarters. The Barbados Red Cross and commercial banks, on behalf of the victims of catastrophic hurricanes, thank all persons and businesses for their contributions.
Welcome Welcome back. Well, as the focus continues to be on breast cancer awareness for the month of October, we're hearing that fewer women have been getting mammograms done at the Barbados Cancer Society. Word of this from Office Manager of the Breast Screening Program, Monique Hines. Sharika Griffith has that story.
Just over a year ago, the breast screening program of the Barbados Cancer Society was performing an average of 700 mammograms a month. However, that number has declined, and the program's office manager, Monique Hines, believes it has to do with the current economic situation facing the country.
In previous years, we've had more persons coming in for mammograms, and maybe on average we would have, at the clinic, we would see maybe approximately between 25 to 30 patients a day. Now, the last fiscal year, there has been a decline in women coming in to have mammograms. Sometimes on a good day, we might see 15 women. So I think it has to do a lot with the economy and what's been happening.
Ms. Hines, however, says more people are speaking up about the disease, which has helped to ease the stigma associated with it. She made the comments during the launch of the 2017 Payless Breast Cancer Awareness Program at the store's Sheraton branch. Store leader Latoya Carter says her company will once again be supporting the cause by giving customers the option of purchasing a limited edition bracelet for $5. The proceeds from the sale of the bracelet, as well as these champion sneakers, will go to the breast screening program.
This is the second year in a row that Payless will donate part proceeds from the sale of its special pink Champion Gusto athletic shoes as a complement to the regularly featured accessory item or pink bracelets. Beginning October 1st, Payless will donate the equivalent of $1 for every bracelet sold and the equivalent of $3 for every pair of special pink Champion Gusto sold. Supporting this initiative, you can do your part by purchasing one of these items.
Janielle Blenman, who was diagnosed at just 24, is the 2017 Breast Cancer Awareness Ambassador. She wants to dispel the notion that a positive diagnosis is a death sentence.
I didn't think that it was possible for a 24-year-old to be diagnosed with breast cancer. Little did I know that it is possible, and it happens more often than the public realizes. So it's only after I was diagnosed and I became a part of the community, so to speak, that I then met other young breast cancer patients and subsequent survivors. So I guess that is what's driving me to let people know, one, it doesn't have to be a death sentence, and two, that it can happen to younger women and men as well.
Men too have been going to the Cancer Society to have mammograms and ultrasounds done, but the majority of positive cases continue to be women. The incidence of men being diagnosed with breast cancer is less than 1%. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Thanks, Sharika. Well, in other news, the Barbados Water Authority is once again faced with a major block in its South Coast sewage line. This confirmation from manager of the Wastewater Division, Patricia Innes, who says the blockage in the Rendezvous area was further compounded by down pumps at the sewage plant.
We do have another seemingly major block in that area. So we want to let Barbadians know we have had some persons calling and letting us know about that reality. Compounded with that has been the blockage of, again, the pumps at the plant. We do have 2 screw lift pumps, which were the original designed. We supplement that now with 4 additional pumps. 2 of these pumps have become blocked. So we have had to clear them today, Wednesday, which meant that the levels were increased in the network, compounded with the block. The pumps are now back in functioning, and so we are hoping that that level subsides very, very soon.
And Ms. Innes says a major cleaning of the entire line, which starts at the plant, will be undertaken once the levels subside.
We have, over the number of months, last 6 months, been cleaning areas of it. This is the first time now we are going to be starting at the plant and making sure that entire line from the plant all the way through by the Graham Hall Swamp, all the way through Rendezvous, all the way through Worthings. Well, we're letting Barbadians know that as well. We do it at night. We sometimes start midnight. We run into the day. We try to do it at low times. The levels have to be low. We sometimes encounter the morning traffic, at 8 o'clock traffic, even though we would try to do it at weekends or whatever the sort. But to let them Barbadians know, because some people can be quite impatient, appreciative of their own realities, but that we are carrying out a major cleaning of that line to be sure that we are dealing with the system.
Well, still to come, a look at some of the stories making headlines across the region.
We listened to what you had to say and tore up the old rules because losing what you paid for is just wrong. Now lost data and talk are a thing of the past. Only Digicel gives you unlimited rollover data and talk. Just buy and renew your Quick Pick bundle before it expires and keep what's rightfully yours. Never lose what you don't use. Go to My Digicel app to bundle up and roll over today. Digicel.
In the next 60 minutes.
Hurricane Harvey has devastated Texas. Nearly 5 years after Superstorm Sandy killed 117 people and caused more than $60 billion worth of damage in the Northeast. Thousands of families that survived Sandy say they were then hit by a second wave. Fraud.
I was like, how can you tell me that you just can't cover this, that I'm not going to get the full amount of my insurance? I said, you got my payments every month.
As Harvey's survivors face a difficult future, we look back at Hurricane Sandy and why so many families didn't get the help they deserved.
60 minutes, Sundays at 10:05 p.m. on CBC TV 8.
Do you want audience numbers? Over 140,000 people are watching Morning Barbados and the evening news. 6 out of 10 top radio personalities are found right here at the CBC. CBC delivers the audience you need.
Here comes Asha. Inspired by a true story, this series is set in 19th century Japan and tells the story of a woman who overcomes adversity to forge a path in the world of business. A heartfelt, humorous drama and romance. Here Comes Asha airs Tuesdays and Saturdays at 6 p.m. on CBC TV 8.
Across the Caribbean, brought to you by CIBC First Caribbean.
Dominica's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit is to unveil a 12-point plan for economic recovery in the wake of Hurricane Maria. More information on the plan will be revealed during an address to the nation on Friday night. But in the meantime, Mr. Skerrit has held meetings with private sector companies.
That is work in progress. We shall make certain commitments in terms of concessions and areas that we can work with them to ensure the speedy reopening and also the speedy reconstruction of the facilities. And some of the things will include concessions. It will also include the possibility of providing land to certain private sector entities to place their investments in a more secure location. Also, we continue to be in discussions with the World Bank. The World Bank is a major partner and will be a major partner in our reconstruction. They have committed some $65 million so far. We're negotiating to see how close we can take it to 100, if not beyond that.
And Mr. Skerrit says that Ross University has expressed its commitment to the country.
As you know, Ross has been in Dominica since 1978. So Ross came in Dominica just prior to our independence. So they have been part of Dominica's political independence for our entire political sovereign statehood. And of course, we're working with them to seek to get Ross to recommence classes as early as January 2018.
Dutch St. Martin's Princess Juliana International Airport is to be reopened next Tuesday to accept all commercial flights. October 10th marks 7 years since the Dutch territory obtained its new constitutional status. Minister of Tourism Melissa Arundel-Doncher says the airport was given time following Hurricanes Irma and Maria to get back to a suitable operational level that falls within international safety standards. She reiterated that the damage to the facility was severe and no quick fix could have been applied. She notes that even as they open the airport, the country is still months away from restoring it to its former glory. And in the British Virgin Islands, the Minister of Education has made an appeal for the business community to contribute towards the rebuilding of schools. 5 of the 16 public schools were affected severely when Hurricane Irma swept through the British Virgin Islands on September 6th. Telecoms company Digicel has already promised to undertake repairs at its adopted institution, Althea Scatliff Primary. The Minister has also made another appeal for volunteers. And in Trinidad and Tobago, Minister of Public Utilities Robert LaHunt admits that many sections of the country are going to be disgruntled by the recently announced taxes in the national budget, but he says it proves the burden of adjustment is being shared.
When I look at the budget, and I mean a lot of people are going to talk about taxes and this has gone up, but I think when you look at the measures, it has been shared by all. You hear the TTME complaining, you hear the Bankers Association complaining, and I'm sure some of the citizens will, some of these increases might result in some increase in other areas because of the diesel prices and so forth. But again, it's about sharing the burden by all.
And Mr. LaHunt says there are other measures that could have been implemented that would impact the common man, but government chose not to make those changes.
There was no increase in VAT. There was no increase in personal income tax. Those were options that were available, and those options were not explored because it was felt that at this point in time, you again want to share the burden of adjustment by all.
Across the Caribbean, brought to you by CIBC First Caribbean.
All sports news is next with Mark Seal, but first a tip from Cooperators General Insurance.
This tip of the day is brought to you by Cooperators General Insurance Company Limited. Insurance the way you